Everyone. Welcome to Cultural Resilience in the African Diaspora, a celebration of Gullah Geechee arts. This session is organized and sponsored by the Atlanta University Center Consortium, Morehouse College Department of Music, and Yale University's Ascend Initiative and Music in the Black Church program, in collaboration with the ASA's Local Arrangements Committee. In 1903, W.E.B. Du Bois wrote that the Sea Island peoples of Georgia and South Carolina are touched and molded less by the world about them. Indeed, the Gullah Geechee are exceptional because of their linguistic and musical retentions documented by Lorenzo Dow Turner. The 1988 documentary, The Language You Cry In, traces a Gullah song passed down through the generations back to its origins in Sierra Leone. Though separated by 200 years and 5,000 miles, the melody was immediately recognizable to Bindu Jabati, a woman of the village Senahum Ngola. She responded with a Mende song in which the melody and even the lyrics were strikingly similar. With the recent availability of DNA testing, many have been able to trace their ancestry with great specificity. Since 2023, the Council of Igbo States in America have been holding annual naming ceremonies on St. Simon's Island in Georgia near Igbo Landing. The Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor was established by the U.S. Congress in 2006 to recognize the unique culture of the Gullah Geechee people who have traditionally resided in the coastal areas and the Sea Islands of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. In this plenary, organized by the Local Arrangements Committee with GGCHC Commissioners, ASA members and the public will experience the rich culture of the region through performances by leading storytellers, singers, and ring shouters. The Morehouse College Glee Club, known for their performances in African languages and frequent tours to the continent, will interpret a historic spiritual in collaboration with 3 Gullah arts organizations who are performing together for the first time. After the performance, a panel will briefly address challenges to sustaining this shared heritage of West Africa and the United States. The Gullah Geechee ring shouters, anchored in Darien, Georgia, are a critically acclaimed collective of African Americans preserving cultural aspects of their ancestral heritage through performance and education. The group has recently been featured on NPR's American Roots. Let's welcome the Gullah Geechee ring shouters, led by Griffin Lotson, and sharing the Gullah spiritual, I See the Sign.
The song, Time Drawing Nigh, is one that we sang. We were forced to go to church every Christmas Eve, and especially on New Year's Eve. But it also signifies letting the folks know, letting the people, our ancestors know, that we're going to be leaving. So they sang songs such as Let's Go Down by the Riverside, but we sang Time Drawing Nigh. I see the sign, I see the sign, I see the sign, hey Lord, time is, I see the sign, I see the sign, I see the sign, hey Lord, time. Sign in the air, sign in the air, sign in the air, hey Lord, time is, sign everywhere, sign everywhere, sign everywhere, hey Lord, time is done. Yeah, God talking, yeah, God talking, yeah, God talking, hey Lord, time is done. Talking through the thunder, talking through the thunder, talking through the thunder. I see the sign, I see the sign, I see the sign, yeah. Time is drawing now. All right.
The voices of Gullah singers of St. Helena Island, South Carolina, have performed as an ensemble for 10 years. The group was featured in Henry Louis Gates' PBS documentary, The Black Church. They received the 2019 Jean Laney Harris Award, the highest honor for South Carolina folk traditions. This evening, they'll be sharing Adamin de Godin. Come on, right. Say it for me, okay. Which is a Gullah shout song that's sung throughout South Carolina and Georgia, and even known from the 19th century from Sapelo Island. They'll be led this evening by Minnie Gracie Gadsden singing the lead. And this is actually a family affair because JoJo is Rosa's son. Okay? And Deacon Murray, on the left, Deacon Murray, that's Rosa's husband. Yeah. So here we go. Let's hear about Adam.
Oh, Eve, where's Adam? Oh, Eve, oh.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
Picking up leaf.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
Said I'm mad and I'm so glad.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
This a soul he thought he had.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
Find my mother how she walk on the cross.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
It got slipped and your soul got lost.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
Oh, Eve,
Where is Adam?
oh, Eve, oh.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
Went in a valley one day to pray.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
So got happy, I stayed all day.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
Oh, Eve,
Where is Adam?
oh, Eve, oh.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
Picking up leaf.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
Say done mad and I'm so glad.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
Miss a soul he thought he had.
Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
Oh, Eve.
Where is Adam?
Oh,
Eve. Adam in the garden picking up leaves.
That's all right.
The McIntosh County Shouters are from the community of Briar Patch, Georgia. They have kept the ring shout, one of the oldest continuously practiced African American traditions, alive. With the Explorers program, the McIntosh County Shouters have shared the ring shout with 15,000 school children in partnership with the Savannah Music Festival and Carnegie Hall in 2014, 2017, 2018, and 2022. The group has received a National Heritage Fellowship. This evening, we will be hearing.
Stretch aside.
This evening, they'll be presenting Set Your Side.
Walk through the valley. Oh, walk through the valley in the field. Oh, my Lord, for
Aunt Pearlie Sue is the creation of Anita Singleton Prather, a native of the Sea Islands of Beaufort, South Carolina. Based on her grandmother, Aunt Pearlie Sue's character has entertained audiences with Gullah-flavored folk tales for over 20 years, from the schoolhouse to the White House. In addition to being a renowned master storyteller, Prather is an educator, historian, businesswoman, writer, singer, actress, and director-producer. She is the founder and artistic director of the musical performance group, the Gullah Kinfolk. As a storyteller and singer, Prather has performed at many festivals: the Beaufort Gullah Festival, Penn Heritage Days Festival, Woodlands Festival, Spoleto USA International Arts Festival in Charleston, South Carolina, and San Francisco Festival of the Sea. She appeared in the Hollywood film Forrest Gump and on television's Food Network channel holiday special Christmas Across America, hosted by Rachel Ray. Through her Gullah heritage, Prather continues to be a keeper of the culture, creatively entertaining and educating audiences around the world of all ages and nationalities about the rich, unique African experience in America.
Holy Spirit, kumbaya. Put your hands together. Holy Spirit, kumbaya. I said, we soul on fire. Holy Spirit, kumbaya. Holy Spirit, kumbaya. Holy Spirit, kumbaya. I said, we soul on fire. Now listen here, children. I ain't got much for city this evening, but I need to just stop by and just tell you a little something. Now, y'all know my friend, Mansa Musa. Folks know him. They say richest man in the world, $400 billion. I said, send a little something, something this way. That's all I ask for. Not much, just a little something, something. And one day he was sitting on his royal throne just like this. And him was this a rocking. And his sweet Petunia, Queen Nzinga, was sitting right next to him. And she was rocking. You know, she was a bad mama jam. She didn't play. She had them Portuguese scared back. And they was rocking in just like this here. And, you know, King tried to get up, and he said, oh, he had to sit back down. Because them two writers boys was messing with them kneecaps and stuff. You know. And then, you know, he called for the royal scroll to come so he could read the daily news. And he put that thing close like this. And then he had to put it back like this. And he squinched with one eye like this. And he squinched with the eye. And still couldn't see a thing. And you know, omens, you know how we try to let our men's, you know, we just say, sweetie, you know, we's getting up in age. He said, well, and you know, it's time for you to decide what heir you're going to leave this mighty kingdom to. Well, the king said, well, yeah, I guess you're right, sweetie. He said, but got a little problem. And he started going, arah. And ladies, you know when your man started going, arah, that means he trying to figure out what to say. And he kept going, arah. And Queen Zinga said, arah what? And he said, you know, it's just a little bit of a problem here. And she said, what kind of problem you foresee? He said, well, you know, we got 3. She said, I know, I was there. He said, and you know, they is triplets. She said, yeah, I was there. And you know, they look just alike. She said, I know, because I was there. He said, well, you know, that presents a bit of a problem. She said, well, what kind of problem that be? He said, well, what? You know, I can't really rightly tell which one come out first, you know, to know which one is the eldest. Because you know, Queenie, you know, the eldest son is the one that's supposed to inherit. She said, I know. She said, so what are you trying to tell me? He said, well, I can't tell them apart. She said, what? You said, what? You supposed to be the wisest man round these parts. All that money you got, and you can't tell your own children apart. If you done had them for 33 years. Oh, men's, let me tell you, especially y'all young men's here from Morehouse. When your woman put her hand on the hip like this, and she started rocking them back and forth, that means you in trouble. She said, what? You mean? What were you trying to say? He said, well, baby darling, sweet petunia, can you just tell me which one was the which one that come out first? She said, so you asking me a question? That what you trying to say? He said, I'm just asking you one question. She said, well, I got two questions for you. She said, can I ask you this? She said, oh, he said, baby, ask me anything. Anything you want. She said, where was you? Did you carry them just one day when I was carrying them? 3 boys for 9 months, carried them inside me with no charge. Did you just carry them one day? He said, no. She said, I got one more question. When I was moaning and groaning, them 33 and a third hours, did you moan and groan one time for me? Did you? Did you, King? Did you? He said, no. She said, well, then the least you could have done was stand there and see which one come out first. That's all you had to do was stand and look. Oh, and you know how we throw the hand up like this? And said, talk to the hand and not to the face. And Queenie switched right on up out of there. Well, King knew he was in trouble. He knew he was in trouble. So he called his royal servant. And he called for his, when he get nervous, you know how we do nervous eating. I used to be a size 2 till I got nervous. And I said, he said, can you bring me my royal sweet potatoes and my royal, boiled eggs and let me see what I can do. And you know what royal eggs and sweet potatoes do to old gut. I don't need to tell you how you spell relief, F-A-R-T. And when he got to that, he said, I know it, I got an idea. What I'm going to do now? So he called for his royal servant. And they came. Yes, sir, sire. He said, listen, yeah, I'm in trouble with Queenie. And I got to get out the doghouse. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to build her a new room on the palace. Ain't nothing like adding a new room for the sweet petunia. And he went right to it. He got the building and a sword and a hammer and all over the place. But there was one thing. And he told him just build a room. He didn't give him no specification. So he built the room, but he forgot to put windows and doors. So he had to call his sweet petunia to come cut a doorway so he could get out. When he got out, he came and he said, sire, the room is so bad. So then he called his 3 sons. Yes, sir. And they came a-running. Kunta, Kente, and Quasi. They said, yes, sir, Father. I heard you summon us. And the father said, listen, your mama mad at me. And I got to get out this doghouse. Now, I done had the servant to build a nice, fine room on the palace. Now, I need y'all boys to go. And I got to decide which one of y'all should have the honors of taking over this great kingdom. Well, you always got one that know everything. I mean, just know everything. Told God, if you just let me have this world one more time, God, I think I can fix it up a little bit back and bump it up a bit. Well, his name was Kunta. Brag and know everything. Don't never get nothing wrong. He said, Daddy, that's all you want me to do? He said, listen, I need y'all to search the world over and find something to put in that room that's going to make a difference. Daddy, I got this. He told his other two brothers, man, y'all move out the way, I got this. And he went all around the world to all the famous furniture stores. He went to Haverty's, and he went to Wally World, and he went to Dixie Furniture. You know what I'm saying? Went to all them places, them big fancy places and everything, Macy's and everything. Went to all the famous places. HGTV was calling him, and he came and he decked that room out. And he called his daddy. He said, Daddy, come on here. You going to love this? Daddy, you going to love this? Come on. Let me show you that. Daddy, hurry up. And Daddy got there, and he got to the door. And Daddy stopped. He said, Dad, why you ain't going in? Daddy said, listen here, son. I don't go in no dark rooms. I don't go in no dark places. He said, but Daddy, look in there. Look at all the fine furniture. Daddy peeped there. He said, now, well, I can see look pretty good, though, but listen there, boy. I don't go in no dark places. And Daddy backed it up. And he backed it up. And he backed it up. And he sat back on that room. Now that second boy, Kenty, sweet, filled with humility, sweet talker. You know, when he talked, I mean, the honey would just come oozing all out the side and everything. He passed a little gas, sneeze, you know, powdered sugar just went all over the place. Oh, he was a sweet talker. Just had all the ladies after him. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, turn your back. His name was really Dagger Dan. Had that false humility. When he told his brother, Kunta said, man, you crazy. Daddy don't need no furniture. He the king. He own all of this. And you go buy him some furniture from Wally World and Haverty's and stuff. I know what Daddy like. So he went around the world to all the famous restaurants, Outback and Inback and You-Back and She-Back and, you know, Burger King and, you know, Have It Your Way and, you know, Mickey D supersize and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I'm telling you, he was going to all the famous. And I was sitting on my porch, and I had just pulled out 2 sweet potato pies. Oh, I did. It was smelling up the place. You could smell all the vanilla and the mace and everything. And he came by mine. He stopped and he backed it up. He said, ooh, what's that intoxicating smell? I said, that's a little vanilla I put behind my ear. He said, no. I said, what you smell? He said, what you been cooking? I said, my sweet potato pies. He said, can I have one of the pies for my dad? I said, boy, who's your daddy? He said, I said, the king's your daddy. Boy, don't play with me. He said, yes, ma'am, the king my daddy. The king your daddy. And you want to take your daddy one of my pies? Boy, hold up. I went in there, got some there. I had some red rice with some Roger, you know, them hot, spicy Roger Wood sausage, and I had some swimp in that thing, I'm telling you. And then I had some day old collard greens, you know, go in easy, greasy, come out easy. I mean, they better the second day around. I'm just, all that season done slide up in there. And you know you can't have no collard greens without no cornbread. I said, boy, give me 22 minutes, and I'll jiff up a jiffy in 22 minutes, boy. I'll tell you, ladies, you ain't got to wear but no Maybelline for 2 weeks. I had it so buttery, I wanted to corner myself. And I said, I ain't got time to kill no chicken and fry, but you go up there in the corner and tell the colonel, I say, send me 2 buckets of that chicken, drop a bucket off to me, and take that other bucket to your daddy, because I learned the colonel, he ain't know nothing about frying no chicken. Tell Pearlie, show him how to fry that chicken, making all that money. Yeah. I said, he went in and he set that table, had the whole kingdom smelling up. Oh, the king was sitting on this door. He said, oh, something sure smell good up in here. Oh, Lordy, my little gut, about to eat it. My big gut smells so good up here. And his son said, come on, Daddy, I got something for you. He said, Daddy, come on, you going to like that. I got all your favorite, Daddy. Collard greens, red rice, cornbread, Pearlie, sweet potato pie. And the colonel got some fried chicken, Daddy. Miss Pearlie gave him the recipe. Come on, Daddy. Daddy went there and he got to the door and he stopped. He said, Daddy, ain't you going in? I know you're hungry. I had your gut rumbling. Daddy said, boy, just like I told your brother, I don't go in no dark rooms. And Daddy backed it up. Now that last boy, Quasi. Quasi means humble. Humble warrior. Favorite song was, if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living won't be in vain. His brothers used to always tease him, say, boy, why you messing with them poor folks over there? They ain't nobody. Don't you know you the king's kid? He said, they somebody to me. And whatever he had, he shared. He had no respect of person. He didn't care about your status. He didn't care about your degrees. He didn't care about none of that stuff. If I can help you, then my living won't be in vain. And when his brothers asked him, said, man, what you gonna do? What you gonna put in that room? He said, I don't know. Oh, man, you don't never know nothing. You need to hurry up, because daddy gonna give me the cake. No, he gonna give it. He said, I don't know. He knew it was more important than just the gold and the silver and the diamonds and the rubies, but the heart of the people that he was gonna be there to serve. That was the true treasure of the kingdom. So he went out into the bush, the sacred bush. He said, I'm going to pray, and I'm going to fast, and I'm going to seek wisdom from high. And he said, Lord, what am I going to do? What can I bring to put in that room that's going to make a difference? And for 3 nights and 3 days, he just prayed. And that last night, they couldn't see no stars because the clouds were out there. And he said, Lord, put his hands before his eyes. He said, I can't even see my own hands in front of my eyes, Lord. How can I see to serve your people? I got to go and tell my Father, I'm just not worthy. I'm just not worthy. And then he lit a torch so that he could find his pathway back to the palace. And when he lit that torch, then light came and darkness flee. He said, oh, I know now what that room needs. And he got to running. And his brother said, man, where you going? He said, I ain't got time to stop and talk to you fellas. I got to be about my Father's business. And he went in that dark room and he lit it up. And then he went and he fell humbly at his Father's feet. And he said, Father, can you please come with me? And this time in that room door flung open, light came flooding out that once dark room. And his father said, oh, my wise and humble son, the kingdom is yours. Well, them other 2 boys went completely berserk. What you mean, Daddy? He ain't brought nothing up in here. Look at all this fine furniture I brought. Kunta got the ranting and raging. Daddy said, until the light came into that dark room, nobody could appreciate the beauty of the fine craftsmanship. Well, Daddy, look at all your favorite foods and everything. A feast fit for the king. He said, son, just like I told your brother, until light came into this dark room, nobody could appreciate the feast that has been prepared for the king. We're living in some dark times. Every time you turn on the television, it's more evil and more evil and more evil. And you say, what can I do? What can I bring? What can I take into this dark room to make a difference? And I challenge you to bring the true light of LOVE into these dark places. That's what's going to make America great. That's what's going to make this world great. Not hate, but love. And I challenge you, when you leave this place, you take the love that I shared with you and you share that light everywhere you go. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it. And I challenge you to love people who hate you simply because you're different, and watch love change this world. God bless you.
Thank you, Aunt Pearlie Sue. The Morehouse College Glee Club has electrified audiences around the world for more than 110 years, including tours to Ethiopia, Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa, and Uganda. This video clip is from Nigeria in 2022 when they sang in Yoruba with many choirs in Lagos. The Glee Club has performed with music legends such as the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, and participated with Stevie Wonder, Gloria Estefan, and Trisha Yearwood in the opening and closing ceremonies of the 1996 Centennial Olympic Games held in Atlanta, Georgia. Recently, they performed at Jimmy Carter's funeral. Let's have Me Have Home in the Rock, arranged by Rollo Dilworth of Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, conducted by David Morrow. I would like to welcome Deacon Murray back to the stage. Deacon Murray and Brenton Jordan to now lead us in a group shout with the song, with the song,
Ain't Even Look a Day.
Ain't Even Look a Day. So we're all going to participate in this. They're going to be on the stage. We have Brenton there. He's going to be the stick man. We have Joseph Murray. Okay, we got a microphone. hopefully. And I'm going to ask everyone to participate in this, including the Glee Club. So when we say shout, that's a movement, right? And so McIntosh is right here. Gullah Geechee ring shouters over there. They're going to come up. They're going to lead us around. The carpet is not ideal, but we're going to make it work. So here we have Anita Look-a-Day, and let's go ahead and get it going.
And by the way, anyone can take part in this. So if you want to take part and join in, please feel free.
Go ahead and start off. Yeah.
Let me say a little bit about the song. When I was a little boy coming up about, says 46, 47 years ago, we used to live on a plantation here in Beaufort County, up there next to Cumbie and Carter-Enyi line. And on that plantation, we didn't have a church. The older people didn't have a church on the plantation, but they had a prayer house. And my mom and my grandmother them used to have prayers every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night in that prayer house. My mother had 8 head of children, had 7 boys and 1 girl. I was the 3rd one of her child, and I was the only one who likes to go with my mom and my daddy to that prayer house. The rest of them looked like they were scared, or they didn't scared of darkness or something. I don't know about that. They didn't want to come with the house. But I would go. And then older people used to, when it come in the months of December, during the Christmas time, they had what you call watch night. Watch night during the Christmas time. And they would always meet to that prayer house around about 10 o'clock in the night, and they would sing and they would pray until 12 o'clock. Everyone get on their knee and give God thanks for letting them see another Christmas that year. And they wouldn't go back home. They'd stay there for the rest of the night until day broad clean. Then they turned that prayer house into singing and shouting. I was a little boy coming up, but I've been right there sitting down beside my grandmother them in that prayer house. See what they're doing, hear what I say. And when it come day about to clean, they used to catch a song in our prayer house. One day, old deacons catch a song in our prayer house, and they say it like this. Hey, neighbor, look a day. 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 Take a clean, 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 look a day. Hey, neighbor, 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 loco day, hey, Niba loco day, data clean 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 loco day, hey, Niba loco day, hey, Niba loco day. 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 Data clean look. Data clean. Data clean. Data clean, data clean, data clean. Hey, Niba loco day, 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 data clean, 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 data clean. Hey, Niba loco day, 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 data clean, data clean, data clean, data clean. Data clean, 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 data clean. Hey, Niba loco day, 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 hey, Niba day, hey, Niba loco day, hey, Niba loco day, hey, Niba loco day, hey, Niba loco day, day clean, data 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 clean. Hey, Niba loco day, 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 hey, day. Hey, Niba, look there. Hey, Niba, look there. Hey, Niba, look there. Hey, look there. Hey, Niba, look there.
Thank you, Deacon Murray. Thank you, Brenton Jordan. Okay, it is now time. We have about 10 minutes for our panel. I'd like to welcome Anita Singleton Prather of the Gullah Kinfolk Traveling Theater. Then we have Quintina Carter-Enyi of the University of Georgia. We have Eric Sean Crawford of Morehouse College. We have Brenton Jordan, a Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor Commissioner, and Griffin Lotson, the recent Vice Chairman of the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor Commission. We would like to welcome you all to ask some questions. We have about 10 minutes. All right, can we welcome our first respondent? Any? Please, a question. All right, come on up. Yeah.
I'll come to you.
Okay, great.
Thank you. So first and foremost, I was so touched. Thank you. One more time, a round of applause, because that was deeply spiritual, a metaphysical experience. My question, first, my name is Kim Poole. I'm with the Teaching Artists Institute, and every year we take our students on what we call a freedom ride, and it goes throughout what we consider the Gullah Geechee Nation, starting in Wilmington or somewhere around that coastal region down into Savannah. We can't make it down to Jacksonville, Florida, but we wish we could. And every year they tell us that there's a difference between the Gullah Geechee corridor and the Gullah Geechee Nation, and we hear so many stories from women like Queen Quet and Elder Carly Town, and even some of those that are living in Jacksonville. I believe his name is Augusta. So can you tell us the difference between the nation, the Gullah Geechee Nation and the Gullah Geechee corridor, and if there is a difference that we should recognize?
Our Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor Commissioners, hear them, if they can answer that.
Griffin?
Yeah, we'll try to answer that as brief as we can. I'll hold the mic out and use my microphone voice. It's on now. Yes, you have the Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, which took an act of Congress starting back in 2006, but really it started before that. I work along with the people in government and out of government. Michael Allen, he was commissioned to work with us in this one, and Aunt Pearlie Sue and myself, we are part of the beginning crew. We were Gullah Geechee before Gullah Geechee was cool. That means we kind of old, okay? But yeah, you do have the Gullah Geechee Nation. Queen Quet herself heads up the Gullah Geechee Nation, and by the way, she was one of those core leaders of the Gullah Geechee corridor also. She was a founding board member, commissioner. We have another commissioner here now taking up the ranks from us older people, Mr. Brenton, that's sitting there. When my time came to a conclusion, which I still work now all over the world for the Gullah Geechee corridor, it's time to pass it to the next generation. So it is two separate entities. The Gullah Geechee Cultural Heritage Corridor, which was commissioned by the presidents of the United States. I'm the longest serving member on that committee, over 13 years through 3 presidents. And Brenton now is working under this president, and hopefully he'll be there when the next president comes in, okay? But to end that, 2 separate groups, totally 2 separate groups. Both are doing great things, but it is a separate group. Now that Gullah Geechee is popular, everybody wants to be popular. When we were younger, nobody wanted to be Gullah Geechee.
Yes, and it's an organization, separate organization under Marquetta Goodwine, who's Queen Quet. That's one thing. And then again, corridor is mandated through the United States government. So.
All right. Good evening. I'm Noah Mize, a junior cinema, television, and emerging media studies major from Morehouse College. And I wanted to learn about the cultural significance of the ring shout. And I also wanted to learn about, do you know any places I could go, things I could look up to learn more about it?
I can answer that question. The ring shout, as you know, is the oldest African-American song and dance tradition still surviving in the U.S. since slavery. The tradition has actually been kept alive and maintained thanks to my family. The McIntosh County Shouters were the first principal practitioners of the ring shout publicly in 1980. Before them, it was the Georgia Sea Island Singers, but they really didn't do performances of the ring shout like that because the shout had basically died out in a lot of Gullah Geechee communities. In South Carolina, you may hear the songs, but you won't see the dance form of the shout itself. When we refer to the term shout, we're referring to the dance-like movements of its participants, which really is the shuffling movement. I call it a groove. If you're doing the shout correctly, it should look like you're floating across the floor. A lot of the older members of my community, we jokingly call them old floaty because it literally looks like they were floating across the floor but grooving at the same time. When it comes to the ring shout, there are several what I would consider protocols and rules that make an authentic ring shout. Okay. I don't want to go into all of those details because it is pretty detailed, but you can't, and one of the things that has to be done is a song has to be set correctly. The setting of the song is the beginning of the song where the song usually starts off kind of slow so that the stick man would know when to come in and the bassers would know when to respond as well. Okay. If those principal parts are not done, and the stick man doesn't come in properly, you can't shout the song. Okay. If the bassers don't know when to come in, you can't shout the song. Okay. So the most principal part and the most vital part of the ring shout is the setting of the song. Okay. If a song is not set correctly, as the old people say, you can't shout them.
I want to add just a little bit to that, and I promise you I'll be short. He's absolutely correct in what his statement is. But there is a new movement now, thanks to Dr. Crawford and Aaron Carter and Quintina, the resilience of the ring shout. It has all but died out. In another event we went to about a month ago, national meeting, just for my own education, I had fun with AI. And I put this in. Amazingly, I knew the answer, but I wasn't 100% sure, so this due to AI. Cultural performance, art performance, ring shout group, what the heck, go for it, in the world, shockingly, it's only 2. And those 2 are in the room tonight. So you have the best in the world. Our hope, and I'll take my seat, through Quintina, her husband, and Eric Crawford, we're going to take this where it's going to come back alive. Because it was on every plantation from here to Texas. And it all died out. But new life is being pumped back into it.
Yes, I was going to add that if you want to, as regards to where you can go to find out more, he already answered the question. They are in this room. So we are blessed to have practitioners that are alive and in this room. So you can visit their communities and learn more about the ring shout.
Hello, thank you so much for for all of this, for being here. My question, I have 2 questions. The first is to ask about the recent appeal from Sapelo Island, I believe, to the Georgia Supreme Court that you won, and to congratulate you about that. If you could say a little bit more about that struggle, which is so vital. My next question concerns my research on Bilali Muhammad, and I just wondered, being you know, that you're from Sapelo, was there a living sort of memory of him? And
I just recently found out that I am a descendant of Bolali.
yes.
But the struggle that has been going on Sapelo has been one that's been going on, I want to say, since before my grandmother was a little girl. And it's a breath of fresh air to finally be recognized and to get the level of recognition that we have achieved. However, it's almost a drop in the bucket compared to the larger problem. It does start putting things in the right direction, but there is still a lot of work to be done. To answer your second question, there's always been, among the people within that area, there's always a history that's kept alive orally through the maternal bloodline. So it's always been known that Bolali had 6 wives, 12 sons, and 7 daughters. He was busy, wasn't he? But I come from one of his daughters, Hetty, who would be my great, I don't know how far back, grandmother. But there's always been that history and that understanding of who he was as a practicing Muslim, because he never stopped his practices. There's actually a place that they still know where he prayed on Nanny Goat Beach on Sapelo Island. However, the Muslim practices within the family, of course, have passed on. But his legacy, as far as understanding who he was and his importance, has always been kept alive within the families.
Let me start first by saying my spirit, and I'm sure everyone's spirit here, is so moved, so very moved. My name is Christy Gadsden. I am the granddaughter of Miss Minnie Pearl Gracie Gadsden. And on top of wanting to see my grandmother sing, I also wanted to come for the cultural experience. And my question is for Miss Singleton Prather. I am a second-year student getting my master's in library sciences with a focus on youth services. And I wanted to go around storytelling in the Gullah Geechee tradition, like Ron and Natalie Days before me, because I grew up on Gullah Island and Carolyn White and all the greats. And my question to you is, how does one get started with storytelling in the tradition, and how do you find that spirit to do it as avidly and as beautifully as you do?
Just tell the story. You've been underneath your grandmother and the stories that she's told you, that her grandmother told her. Just start telling them. And you will find you. Don't try to imitate anybody, just find you. And you make those stories come alive through you. When I talk, I go back to Rosa Singleton. My grandmother was the real Rosa Parks. Could have taken some lessons for her, because she would have hijacked the bus. I mean, she was that. I mean, Tyler Perry plays the Madeira. She was the Madeira. You hear me? Didn't play, didn't take no stuff. And so when I start telling stories, I become my grandmother. I don't act her out, I become her. I embrace her spirit. And that's what you'll do. You'll find a spirit to embrace, and you'll find yourself in the midst of it. Just start telling the story. Just tell it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Salim Safir. I am a senior music major from Morehouse College. My question will be brief, but in the African diaspora, and I would just say almost, every African culture, music is a ginormous part of our cultures. And when done correctly, it can become a window into the past. When I was watching some of these performances, it affected me in a way I didn't expect, because, when these practices were performed, we weren't in hotels, we weren't in these beautiful spaces in the same way. It could have been a barn house. It could have been somewhere you might turn your nose up at, very humble beginnings. What to you all makes this tradition so important to share in 2025 and onward?
For me, being the youngest member, well, one of the youngest members of my family's group, I grew up during a time watching the original members of the McIntosh County Shouters, which literally was my great-grandmother's generation. So it was my great-grandmother's and all her first cousins. They were the original Shouters. And I would literally sit up and watch them. And at first, as a kid, I just thought it was just something the old people did. As a kid, you just think that. But I was humble enough, and I was blessed enough to have my great-grandmother until I was 11 years old. And I grew up during a time where the shout was, and still is, an active part of our community, as well as growing up having the shout being performed as performance art. So literally every performance, I was there. Every watch night, I was there. I learned how to beat the stick at the age of 5. I learned how to shout at the age of 6. I led my first shout song at the age of 9. And here I am at the age of 39 and a full member of the group, and having become a full member of my group in 2010, where my first official performances were the Library of Congress and the Kennedy Center. For me, it was, people always ask, were you nervous? And for me, no, because I had already made it past the hard critics. Growing up, the shout was something the old people did not play about. If they saw you playing, you got to look.
Wow.
That's all you were getting.
Wow.
And if you got looked at again, your next bet was you're getting hit, and you were getting pushed out of the circle. They did not play. If you actually go back and listen to the 1980s recording, you can literally hear the elders in the background yelling at the younger ones, telling them to shout correctly.
Wow.
Our church annex was built with a wooden floor so that the shout could continue. They ended up once the McIntosh County Shouters actually began performing and getting a lot of recognition, they had to build the annex bigger to accommodate all of the people that would come from out of town just to come and see the shout.
Wow.
So for me, the shout has always been a living and breathing part of my life.
Wow.
For me, I hold it very dear because I remember what it was like seeing my great-grandmother, my grandmother, people ridiculing them, telling them that they should be ashamed of themselves for carrying on that slave stuff. And now that being Gullah Geechee, I say we're in the renaissance phase of being Gullah Geechee. So everybody's wanting to be Gullah Geechee, to the point to where now I literally say that being Gullah Geechee is the new being, I got Indian in my blood. Everybody is coming out saying they're wanting to be Gullah Geechee now, whereas no more than 2000, I believe, being in 2000, that's when being Gullah Geechee was actually considered a badge of honor. Before that, nobody wanted to be called Gullah Geechee. In fact, if another black person wanted to insult another black person in the area that we're from, they would call you a rice-eating Geechee.
Wow.
So it was literally worse than being called the N-word.
Wow.
Somebody called you a rice-eating Geechee, best believe you was taking off, you was ready to strap.
Wow.
So for me, I've always held pride, because my family had always held pride in who we were. We were never ashamed of being Gullah Geechee. Me being able to bob and weave out of accent and dialect is a living part of my life. And it's something that I hold with great pride.
Wow. I will say, in terms of the Morehouse men here, I was not sure how you all would receive speaking in Gullah or singing in Gullah. Some would say, that's ugly, that's not how you should pronounce things. And I'm so glad that as you are singing, and you are singing as the ancestors might have been singing as well, that becomes now your history and your background, as is all. And so for me, to answer your question, yes, perhaps it started somewhere humble, perhaps, but you know, that is our past. And there's nothing wrong about being humble, yes? Because we took the worst and what? Made it the best.
And one more last thing. If you want to get a live performance of the ring shout in its authenticity outside of performance, come to Mount Calvary Missionary Baptist Church on New Year's Eve. You'll get to see full-on watch night in motion. And where is that at? In Elonia, Georgia, down by Darien, Brunswick. It's literally about an hour south of Savannah, an hour north of Jacksonville, Florida.
Hello, my name is Brian Gaddy Jr. I'm a freshman computer science major from Charleston, South Carolina. And I wanted to ask, like, with history, you know, being changed, taken away from us and hidden, what would you say are some things we could do to preserve the Gullah Geechee speech and traditions?
I'd like to address that a little bit to preserve it. I'm kind of short, so I have to stand so the people in the back can see me. We are doing that now through both groups. Individually, I've taken on the task to preserve it. Most of the universities, I volunteer when I can, when I have the money, and when I don't, if it's a stipend, they would make sure I make it to the universities. So what I have learned through my grandfather, which was born in 1894 on my mother's side, which Quintina knows now, it's very precious to me because it is from Nigeria. And so I went to Nigeria. I spoke at the Nigerian University. And one of the things I had in my heart, before I leave, I appreciate everything they did for me and the regalia, but I said, I want to teach some Nigerians. Can you believe that? The ring shout. They gave it to us in America. We kind of changed it a little bit because of we had to be on those plantations. So I learned their moves in Nigeria, and we got a chance to teach at the university to preserve it. So we spend a lot of time now. I see Latrice Bush back there somewhere. She was here. Carrying on the tradition of the ring shout. It's going to take us. And that's why I often say the younger people in both groups, we have to make sure they take the lead now, because our days are numbered. That's how we keep it alive. Pass it on.
And I just want to add, I taught for about 20 years, and the way I taught my students about history was through musical theater, through the shouts, through the stories, through the history. And I have students now that are 50 and 60 years old, and they're still singing some of the songs. So the arts are so powerful, and what you all are doing is so powerful. And let me say this to you as well. Every generation has something to contribute. What we've given you tonight is precious, but what you're going to give to the next generation is also precious. So you need to know that. And one of the things I like to tell young people, you're not going to be great, you already are. Everything is in you right now to produce greatness. We're just waiting on you, that's all. God bless you.
Thank you.
How y'all doing? My name's Lance Johnson Jr. I'm a sophomore cinema, television, and emerging media studies major from Charleston, South Carolina. So I grew up around a lot of Gullah and especially Geechee culture coming up, and I definitely resonated with what you said, because as I was coming up, especially hearing my great-grandmother, we called her Gigi Mom, but she used to talk about how people used to, you know, call others rice-eating Gullahs, and how that wasn't, sorry, rice-eating Geechees, and how that was seen as a negative in this time, right? So piggybacking off of what he said, to expand on what he said, one thing that's a big thing in the world right now is, you know, technology and AI, right? And how that's kind of like overtaking the world, overtaking our work processes, and combining cultures. And so I guess I kind of have a dual-sided question. As technology continues to grow, I guess how do you see that as a positive or negative thing of how it's going to affect the culture in the future? And then based on that response, I guess, well, I'll say this, how through technology, because I mean technology's here, how through technology can we still preserve the culture and then continue to expand on it and integrate, if you see integration as a good thing?
I'm sorry.
If you see it as a good thing.
Yes, lovely. One of the things you have now, everybody walks around with a computer, whether it's on your wrist, as a watch, as your cell phone. When you get around these elders, let them talk, let them say something. And then you send it out in cyber world, because once again, the cyber world is there forever. Quit talking about folks trying to erase our history. We ain't going nowhere. We baby kids. We don't die, we multiply.
Exactly.
Come on. We ain't going nowhere. And so we're finding out things now that happened thousands of years ago when they didn't have this technology. So we have all of this. We are in the information world. You young people should be on fire interviewing these elders. It doesn't have to be a setting like this. Go talk to grandma. Let her tell you her story. And, you know, because my grandmother didn't care that I didn't want to hear it. We had to sit down. And I'm glad she made me sit down. And my grandkids, that's my oldest grand right there. LaDeja, raise your hand. She's 25. They didn't volunteer. They got voluntold. They had to be on stage with me. They came out of the womb on stage. My nephew was 11 days old when I produced my first Gullah Geechee video. Wow. Folks thought that my sister was holding a doll baby. My nephew is 26 years old. He's now a petty officer in the Coast Guards. And so they grew up, all of my grandchildren came out of the womb in diapers on stage. And so they don't get a chance to decide that they don't want to learn this culture, because at 2 and 3 years old, they don't even know. At 14, you don't know that you need to learn it. So let's do what we're supposed to do. Stop trying to be these young people's friends, and let's be parents. Let's be the elders, and let's pass it on. That's what we have to do.
Also, there are digital repositories that you can visit. I would like to call on Aaron to tell us more about
At the Atlanta University Center, we have many videos of all of these groups that are part of the Ring Shout Resilience Project, as well as the Glee Club singing in Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, and many other languages. That's available at the Atlanta University Center repository. It's called Radar, okay? And there's translations, there's everything there.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Yasmin Forbes, and I'm a former K-12 educator. I'm now a curriculum specialist for a National History Education Council. And so as I'm building curricular resources for teachers, it's important for me to highlight kind of underrepresented histories. And I know as an educator, when I was teaching in the Carolinas, and even talking to my children who attend Atlanta public schools, they're not talking about Gullah Geechee culture. And so for me, my exposure as a millennial was Gullah Gullah Island, the television show.
My classmate.
Okay. But I'm wondering, what can I do to incorporate in these resources?
Invite me to come to your class.
Well, I'm not in the classroom anymore.
Well, invite
I work
me
with
to come
educators.
to your wherever.
Yes, okay, we got webinars, and
we got it
okay.
all. And what we do, and that's, I'm serious, because that's what I do. Yes. I do consultant work where I come and teach teachers how to teach this culture, how to bring it alive.
Yes, and I know you mentioned music, but in addition to music, what would be something that would be a good way to incorporate the Gullah Geechee culture?
Food.
Okay.
Can't you tell? Food, honey. The basket weaving.
Yes.
The quilt making. The shrimp grass. Making the shrimp nets. All of that. We have so many parts of the Gullah Geechee culture that we can share.
Wonderful. Thank you.
We can bring all those artists to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Most of you may know, I want to add what
go
she
ahead.
said about the Gullah Gullah. She was modest with it, but Rondé's, this is Gullah Gullah Island here on Pearlie Sioux. Give her a hand. Yes, she go way back.
Hi, I'm Carol Boyce Davies, born in Trinidad and Tobago. I have a question about the stick, the wood, because I recognize it from the other tradition. So is it only used for music? Because in Trinidad, there's a stick fighting tradition where they use a bois and they cultivate it. So do you have to do anything with this so that it can be used? Or is it,
No,
is it
somebody
just only for music? It's not for
just for
self-defense?
music and music alone. Traditionally, they would actually grab the broom from out of the corner.
Oh.
Because the floors were all made of wood. So when a shout was when they wanted to have a shout, all they would do is just grab the broom from out the corner, turn it upside down, and part his own. But over time, wooden floors weren't always available. So they had to actually go out, get some plyboard, go out, find a good oak tree, cut off a limb, and then proceed to actually, shape it and all of that stuff. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the board and the stick that I beat now is older than me. Yeah, that was the original. Yeah, I do believe the board and the stick that I beat now is older than me. Yes. It's literally passed down through generations.
Yeah, well, when I started with Reverend Leroy, he was just for me to beat him, but now he holds me up and I have to walk. So he serves a lot of purposes. Yes, ma'am. And my pastor's from Trinidad. So we'll talk.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on that one, and that's what we do. We're culture bearers. I wanted to catch up with Lorenzo Dow Turner. He took 20 years of his life, the godfather of linguistics. So I can very proudly say over 20 years of my life, I have traveled the length of this world throughout the Caribbean, Trinidad, Tobago, yeah, man, doing some work with them right now. Rich work with them now that did the shouting. The only country I know that actually created a law, we have plenty of laws to abandon what we do, we could beat the drums. So the stick came alive, not only for protection in our culture, but also they banned the drums. South Carolina first, and then it was Georgia. So as it was already said, the stick we use for the music. And working with other groups throughout America that mimics the ring shout, the Easter Rock. We just won an Emmy Award with that one. Flew out to Louisiana because they gave us an award. That's going to be going nationwide very soon. And Trinidad Tobago, as you just mentioned, they're working on a documentary tying in the ring shout with that. So it's very important, the history of that. We beat the stick. You don't see no African drums, even though we keep that ring shout alive by going counterclockwise and that polyrhythmic beat. But we do that because it was against the law. That's the only reason why we don't have the drums in the ring shout.
So follow up. So the Shouter Baptist in Trinidad would be the closest doing
Yes.
the logic.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'll be going there in March.
Okay.
Brenton, you have some information on that too.
Yes. From what I understand in my own research, because I've been researching the ring shout and its African connection since I was 6 years old. From what I understand, there was a period where I want to say after the American Revolution, the British was actually giving away land in Trinidad and Tobago to all of those black people who actually fought on the side of the British. So those people who were there actually brought with them the Baptist church and the Baptist tradition and brought it to Trinidad and Tobago. So everything so when I saw the Shouter Baptist in Trinidad and Tobago, I was like, oh, so that's probably what the church actually looked like here. Because my grandmother told me about how they used to ring the bell and all of those things. So over time, there were certain things that died out here, but have been kept and maintained and even added on to in Trinidad. So, yes.
Very good. Eric Michael Washington. I'm a professor of history at Calvin University in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. And my brother mentioned that y'all just went to Louisiana. But my question is that over the years, I've seen different people who are Gullah Geechee, I hear the language, I see the food. I'm wondering, have y'all reached out to us Creoles from Louisiana and made some connections? Because there are connections. I feel it in my spirit that there are connections between us.
Yes, I've got to jump on that one.
Go ahead, brother.
In my 20+ years of research, it's 3 a.m. in the morning. I spend crazy hours researching. And it just popped in my head. I don't really know why it did. I must be, saw something about Civil War I don't know. So again, AI. AI can help a lot. And before AI was popular, so I just went to Google. Lotson in the Civil War. I was just having fun, just typing it in. Jesus Christ, shocked myself. It was one Lotson that fought in the Civil War. I couldn't believe it. So then I went deep, the National Archives, which we performed for them before. And I got the records. I got the pension records from that. And believe it or not, I couldn't figure out my grandfather, 1882, so I spanned 3 centuries. 1882, my grandfather died when I was an adult young man. And then I'm 25 years into this century. So I was in that last century for the young folks when I was born. So I found out my grandfather's name was Robert Lotson. I know what I'm doing. I'm tying this in for storytelling time. His name was Robert Lotson. My oldest brother, he's 87 now. His name is Robert Lotson. Let's go back to the Civil War, and you're going to get it right. The person that was in the Civil War, guess what his name was? Robert Lotson. All of us are short. I'm 5'4". My daddy was 5'6". I think my brother's 5'6" or 7". He was 5'6". And guess where he was mustered in? For those of you that know what mustard is, that's where he was enlisted. Louisiana. Louisiana. And that's why this group right here, stand up 1 second. We just did a week tour in Louisiana with the, stand up right quick, stand up, stand up. They love my storytelling. I must be real good. Stand up right here, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, real quick, because it's the last question. With the young people and all, we did a week tour in Louisiana with the National Park Service and so many executives. We went to Congo Square. We went everywhere, tied in, and actually shouted with the Louisianians. Thank you.
I can also say that I can also add too that the McIntosh County Shouters back, I want to say it was 94? I want to say it was 94, that they also toured in Shreveport, Louisiana. They did, I can't remember the big festival that's in Shreveport, but they did the festival there, and then they also did the Lafayette as well. And so there is that big connection between the two cultures, very much so.
We're so thankful for everyone being here. And I always, I love to end by saying, I may not see you again. This may be our first encounter, but hopefully something has touched you as it has touched us. And we thank you so very much. And please tell somebody else. Is Aaron Carter here? I would like to recognize him for his hard work. He's gone? Oh, okay, okay. All right. Well, so again, we thank you so very much for coming in. Thank you, Morehouse men, for being here. Okay.